Welcome back to the MVP podcast, the people's show where we talk about the most valuable players in the world of sports. My name
Yes,
is
sir.
B-Man. I'm here with Sosa Sauce, who is dripping in the goddamn sauce. And we are here to talk about the NBA. But before we
East
do
side.
that, Sosa, drop the line.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you like the video, please go ahead and like the video. Subscribe if you're new. Share with your friends. We do appreciate all the love and support you've been giving us. B, man, we are going to do this.
Yeah. We're going to do a part 2 to our potential seedings for the playoffs come the season that is near. So we did the episode on the Western Conference where we talked about who we thought was going to be number 1 through to number 8. And we're going to do the same for the East. We're good with that, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, let me give you a caveat. The same caveat I gave in the last video, which is we don't know. You just don't know. These are just predictions. More times than not, when we get to the end of the season, we could be very wrong. Like I said in the last video, some people are going to be a lot worse than we expect them to be. And some teams are going to be, or even one team is going to be a lot better than we expect them to be. There's always a darling team in the NBA every year. So, with that being said, Sosa, do you want to give me a top 8?
All right, let's go through this. Let's go through this sharpish, yeah?
Yeah.
Number 1's the Bucks.
Yes.
Best team in the East. They got better. They're number 1. Number 2, I had the Brooklyn Nets. They've got a couple of players coming back who have yet to start. And I think they're going to be a real big run in the East. 3rd, Miami. Had to respect them. These guys are Eastern Conference champions. Had to respect them. 4, I had Boston. They might have lost Gordon Hayward, but I still think they're up there. 5, the 76ers. I don't mean to disrespect them, but they got a lot to prove to me. 6, I had Toronto. Again, they've lost quite a lot of forward depth, so it's going to be interesting to see where they land. 7, I had the Pacers. Again, there's a lot of things that are not quite right with them. A lot of things going well, but 7 seems like the right choice. And then my final one, the 8th, had a lot to pick from. I went with the Wizards, man.
All right.
I went with the Wizards.
All right. I can live with that. So let me give you my top 8. So just like you, I've got the Milwaukee Bucks. This is where it kind of differs from what you said. So you said Nets second. I've got 76ers coming up next. I've got Boston after that. I've got the Brooklyn Nets 4th. I've got Miami Heat 5th. Toronto 6th. Indiana 7th. And I've got the Wizards 8th. Now, few differences here and there, but I think for the most part we nailed the top 8. I think we can kind of work that out. But there's just so many questions in the East. So let's just start with the top. Have you got anything to say about the Milwaukee Bucks?
I mean, what's there to say about the Bucks, man? Granted, they had a great team. Not really a championship team, but they had a great team, and they added to it. I think they needed to do. I don't think they did enough to keep Giannis, but they did enough to secure a number 1 seed in my eyes for the Western Conference. The fact that they got Drew Holiday to play in the backcourt, it makes a lot of sense, and it adds a different dynamic. The fact that they got a defending, guard who can score. But again, this was all in the sake of keeping Giannis. So no matter what, they're going to be a better team. They gave a lot for Drew. They gave up a lot for Drew. So it better pay off.
I really hope so. I like the Drew's trade, man. I'm just
You're one of the few
disappointed.
people that do, man. It's too much for a guy like that.
Yeah, well, no, it is a lot, but just, he's here now, right? So now we're not looking at it from, well, what did they give up? For me, it's more like, well, we have him now. Is he good enough? And the reality is he is. Like, he's an old defensive type player with some injury history, but let's just fingers crossed that he stays healthy. We know that the main storyline is going to be Giannis's impending free agency. That is going to dominate the whole season. if he doesn't sign by the deadline. If he doesn't sign by the deadline, I think that's going to do more bad than it's going to be doing good. This is why I'm really confused as to why he's staying so quiet. Well, not maybe confused, but I want to know what his plans are, basically. But either way, the Milwaukee Bucks are going to be good, but are they going to be good enough to win a title? I don't know. Did Giannis add more to his game? I don't know. You know, their bench is not as strong as it was last year, so I don't know. But their starting lineup is unbelievable. If only they had Bogdanovich, man. If only they had Bogdanovich, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, he would have definitely helped. Now, I want to double check with you, yeah. So you had the Sixers going second, right? Why were you so high on the Sixers?
Because Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid are that good.
I can't argue with them being that good. But
and can I just add to that before?
I need more because
yeah.
The season since last year.
Yeah. Okay, so cool. Not only I always said, and I've been saying it for like I don't know how long Brett Brown was the coach for the 76ers, but I was very vocal about him not being the right person to coach this team, to coach Ben Simmons, to coach Joel Embiid. So having Doc Rivers to me is like one of the biggest things ever. Now, why do I think they're going to be that high? It's because I don't think this team is finished. I think Daryl Morey is going to do an absolute madness by the trade deadline. And the reason why I say that is because this team is very, very weak. Off the bench, they don't really have much. People keep forgetting that Tobias Harris is still there. Tobias Harris is still there. Do you know what I mean? Like they have
still have Al Horford.
No, they got rid of him. They got
rid of Horford, didn't they?
They got
rid of Horford.
He went to OKC.
And who they got some guards in, some guards that can shoot. I'm pretty sure they got some guards in.
As far as I am aware, let me think about it now. They got Dwight Howard. They got Danny Green, both from the Lakers.
Danny Green, that's it.
No, but I feel they added someone else. I know who they added. Seth Curry,
that's it.
Yeah.
I get where you're coming from. I think with these guys, the reason for you saying that they've got Ben and Joel for them being there is the same reason for me saying Ben and Joel are probably going to be the reasons why they're not as high as they should be.
Mm-hmm.
Like those two guys, if they're the main focal point of the team, I don't want to say we've seen them struggle, because realistically, the only time we've seen them fit is during the regular season, and even at those times, they've not blown me away. They've just not, and it doesn't matter how many complimentary pieces they get. I don't see them getting higher than the fifth in my eyes.
I think Ben Simmons is going to shoot more threes this year. Weird, huh? He's going to shoot.
I'm just.
Yeah, I know.
I'm sat here.
I know. He's going to shoot more threes this year.
I mean, he's going to shoot more threes.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's going to make them, and I'm not saying he's going to take 5 a game, but he'll take more, way more than he's done prior to his career. He's going to take them. Doc Rivers is going to force him to take the shot, and if that shot doesn't come, expect them to trade him for James Harden.
Listen, he's going to shoot more. Yeah, I don't see him shooting more than 50. If that, he's not going to shoot more than 30.
I'm okay with that.
No, not even 30. I think he's going to shoot. I think he's going to shoot like about 20-ish.
What, in the whole season?
In the whole season.
I think he'll shoot a bit more. But I think he'll be more open to the idea of shooting the three, just so that they can expand the game. But let's move on to the third place. Who did you have third?
I had Miami. Miami's my third pick.
Okay. Why so high?
I had to respect them. These guys are the reigning Western Conference champions. I think because
Eastern.
of the
Eastern Western, yeah.
Sorry.
Good.
Eastern. These guys, I think the bubble helped so much. The development of Tyler Hero, especially during the bubble, where he's been able to be one of the closers, and they figured out who they need in like the final 2 minutes of the game, and who can be really valuable for them. Then bringing back Dragic, who was so important to that team. The fact that he wasn't there in the finals, okay, maybe it wouldn't have changed the outcome, but definitely would have took another game or two out of the Lakers for them to win it. I think as long as he's healthy throughout the season, these guys are rugged. I think they're going to be able to push teams like the 76ers, teams like the Toronto Raptors. You know, they can push them out of the conversation of being like the third seed. That's why I'm so high on them.
Okay, so I've got them fifth. So I've got them 2 spots lower than you. And I think the reason why I've got them is because although I believe Tariq was one of the first ones in our group to say that he believed that Miami Heat were going to make the finals, it took me a while to get there. But now that they've made it to the finals, the league, they put the league on notice. We are a good team. If we add another superstar to this core, we are going to be title contenders. Now, they haven't got the superstar yet. And now that teams know who they are and what they can do, I think they'll prepare for it a lot more. I think the season is going to be more of a grind for them now because teams now know just how good they really can be. So I think they'll get a harder kick this year.
Talk about hard work. These guys are grinders. These guys will be working hard.
They will. No, they will.
Butler waking up like 3 a.m. in the morning to start training.
Crazy.
Dragging
If you
up
want to
Tyler
know,
Hero.
I watched quite a few clips of Jimmy Butler, and I found out that if you want to know if your ball club or your team is competent, if you believe your team is competent, sign Jimmy Butler, and if you have a good season, you've got a competent team. If you don't, that means your work rate, your energy is not good enough. Because the reasons why he had issues in Chicago and he had issues in Minnesota and he had some issues in Philadelphia was you guys are not working hard enough. You're not doing enough. You're not doing enough. So if you want to, you want to know, get Jimmy Butler and you'll see just how hungry your team is. Because if they're not, Jimmy Butler will tell you. I've got Boston third.
Okay, so what's your positives for Boston then?
The reason why I could have really dropped them, really, honestly, considering Kemba Walker is injured and he won't come back until January, and people don't even know what the sketch is going to be in January. Do you trust Jason Tatum to do it on his own with Jaylen Brown next to him, but him being the clear superstar? It's really interesting to see. Maybe I have got him a little bit too high. By the way, losing the players that they did, losing Gordon Hayward is a big problem, by the way, because he did a lot. He's very switchable in terms of his positioning. He can't guard competently in all positions, but he's good enough to stay in front of his man. But also, just a steady hand. He was a very steady hand that could do a lot. And they're going to miss that, man. They're really going to miss that.
I had them fourth, the one behind the Magic, one behind the Miami, purely because, granted, I might have said that he wasn't like as impactful, but the truth of the matter is a guy like Gordon Hayward, although he played limited minutes for them, he was very, very efficient for these guys. So for them to lose a guy that's not only, a decent player, like not exceptional, but a decent player, and is efficient, it can cause a bit of issue, especially if they're going to come across better teams. But I mean, like, how many teams are better than the Boston Celtics in the Eastern Conference?
Not many.
So that's the only reason why, like, fourth is, for me, is a good spot. Where did you have them? Third?
Third, Adam, third, yeah.
Third's
continuity. The reason why is because they still, although they lost Gordon Hayward, the core itself, like your young players, like there's a lot of continuity. They're building on what they did last year. So if these youngsters improve, then you could see a much better team. A team that doesn't have to defer so much, especially now that Kemba Walker is out. I think for the first month at least, you'll see Jason Tatum making massive strides in his ability to be a leader, close games, like all of that. I think it's going to take massive leaps being that number one guy where he doesn't have to defer to some of his older peers, if that makes sense.
Yeah. But who's your fourth? Because I mentioned that Boston were my fourth. Who's your fourth?
Yeah. Well, you had the Nets second and I had them fourth. So we might as well talk about the Nets then.
So here's why I'm high on the Nets. And it's purely because of two men. And that's Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. Now, I can only assume, and again, with a team like this, I'm taking it as they're healthy. And if they're telling me that they're healthy, they're 100%, then I can't not see past them being a really high seed in the league. So again, a lot is prefacing on them being healthy, and I'm assuming that them being healthy, that's why I've put them so highly. Genuinely, they could be anywhere between 2 and potentially 5th or 6th if either one of them is out. And I think that they've built something there. Again, Kyrie only played part of the season this year, didn't play in the bubble. They've got a new coaching staff, which is going to cause, again, there's going to be some teething problems for them to get in there. But I think when they start rolling, I don't think no team's really going to stop them, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah. If what you're saying is right, which is the injuries, you're taking them as if they're fit, right? If they are fit, I wouldn't even be surprised if they finish number 1. Having Steve Nash and Mike D'Antoni as your coaches, and then you've got Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, Karis LeVert, you've got Jared Allen, DeAndre Jordan. Like there's some really good pieces here, right? Joe Harris, we've got some really good pieces. But I am taking them as it is, which is Kyrie Irving always gets injured throughout the season, always. KD has only just come back off of an Achilles injury. Again, I'm seeing it as it is. Kevin Durant, it's going to take time for him to get back to scratch. Will he get back to scratch? I think the majority of the people believe that he will still be one of the best players in the league, but he might lose half a step on the defensive end, and he might not be as explosive as he was before. But the brother can shoot. The brother can still dribble. So we don't know, right? But again, I'm taking it as it is, and considering Kyrie Irving's health issues, and this guy is injured all the time. He's got surgery all over his body.
Yeah, I've seen that picture of him with like there's like an outline of all these injuries.
Ridiculous. So I'm just looking at it as it is. If we're looking at if everyone is fit, again, look, I'll put Nets number 1. I put them number 4 out of respect because that's bang in the middle. If they're going to be competent, they're going to be around the area. If Kevin Durant and Kyrie are lit, I wouldn't be surprised if they overtook Milwaukee Bucks and even made a trip to the finals. But lastly, before we move on, consider chemistry. Kyrie Irving has been very, very problematic when he speaks out and when he says things, and we know that, right? He'll say some stupid stuff. He'll do some stupid stuff. And if the Boston situation was anything to go by, he couldn't get with any of the youngsters. None of them wanted anything to do with him. So what's to say that 2 of the most polarizing superstars, there are arguably 2 of the most opinionated superstars, and they're not even afraid to say what they want to say. Man, if there's some friction, things might not go as you want them to.
I just want to quickly touch. Did you? I think who was it now? I think Naeem put it in the group chat about what Kyrie said. Specifically, obviously, when he said about LeBron, but when he also mentioned about, I'm not talking to the media no more, especially for this season. It's like he lives in a world of his own. Literally, he lives in a world of his own. He lives in his own private bubble in his head, and the rest of the world's just they're white noise to him.
Really, exactly. And that's I don't know if that's a good thing or if that's a bad thing. But let's move on to the last 3 teams and let's zip through them very quickly. Let's zip through them. Toronto is the biggest asterisk only because I just don't know how well this team is going to go. They have taken such a big step backwards. But I'm just showing the organization enough respect and say that they will make the playoffs. But I wouldn't be surprised if things just went south, and it went south quick.
Did you have him 6th or 7th?
I had him 6th.
I had him 6th. So wait, we had Toronto. I had the Pacers
Indiana,
next,
and then
Wizards. So we had the same bottom 3. I think that's fair on Toronto. Again, I have to put respect on them because they are former champions as far as the core of the team goes. They have lost a couple of key pieces. Again, I think if they can find rim-rolling centers, if they can find someone that can stretch the floor at the 4 position, I think they'd be okay as far as the team goes. They just lack a bit of depth now. Mm-hmm. The Pacers are, again, they're a bit of an iffy team. The Wizards are the one I want to talk about because the Wizards, genuinely, they have a chance of of taking over potentially the Pacers spot, or if they really do click, the Toronto Raptors spot and push themselves up to either a 7 or a 6 seed if they play the cards right. I think Russell Westbrook, people underestimate the guy now because his value has dropped in the league where he doesn't shoot or he doesn't make the greatest decisions on the court. But I think one thing that we can't doubt about Russell Westbrook is that he constantly makes the playoffs, whether he's by himself or if he's with one superstar, he always makes the playoffs. And I think now with a team that didn't even have their starting point guard in the lineup for God knows how long, almost 2 years, and they actually put in a player that is able to play. Granted, he might have some niggling injuries, but he's able to play next to Bradley Beal. They can really do wonders. So they're a sneaky one to get potentially further up the playoff ladder.
I think a lot of it will fall on Scott Brooks' shoulders on how he can manage the 2 stars. Really, really important. And I've actually been thinking about this quite a lot because I know that playing alongside Russell Westbrook can be difficult because he just has all this pent-up energy that is just trying to unleash on the basket, right? This guy just wants to play basketball. But I think it's so important that they stagger the minutes. And this is how I was thinking about it, right? You get both of them to start the first quarter. You take off Russell Westbrook first. You keep on Bradley Beal for a little bit longer. Maybe perhaps even closer towards the end of the first quarter. Take him out. At the start of the second quarter, you bring on Russell Westbrook. Let him run the bench or run the second unit or run with some of the other guys from the starting lineup. And then halfway through roughly, bring on, do you get me? Like stagger them. Maybe that's the answer. Maybe the answer is, well, we are just going to roll out 2 teams, one run by Russell Westbrook and one run by Bradley Beal, but we will always start and finish the game with both of our superstars, and we'll just make in-game adjustments throughout the season and just try and find the best possible solution for us. Because I don't think that Russell Westbrook will make Bradley Beal better, and I don't think Bradley Beal will make Russell Westbrook better. But we know that both of them will keep their individual games at such a high level. Remember, Russell Westbrook made an All-NBA team playing next to James Harden. That says something. Do you know what I mean? So, but that's my point on the Wizards.
No, I think Beal just needs some help. Granted, he's had probably the most high scoring of his career, but he's had to sacrifice his efficiency for it. So, yeah, he just needs some help, man.
That's it. But yo, Sos, I enjoyed that.
It's been fun, man. We should do this more often.
We really should. really should.
We're acting like we don't know each other. We're not talking to each other all the time.
Nah, but we should talk basketball every single day, brother. Every single day. But yo, send us out then, boss man.
Yo, guys, if you like the video, please go ahead and like the video. If you don't, I know where you live and I'll come find you.
Oh, that's
guys, we appreciate all the love and support that you've given us. Leave and lead us out, please.
And thank you for watching. And we'll be back again soon. Peace.